hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up, 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 Bitcoin? The world is not anymore the way it used to be. No, no, no. Be connected. Wow.
Yeah, so we had a number of people in our comment section of our Bitcoin video telling us that we were wrong about it crashing. But it turns out we were right once again. We were right with the crash with the Trump tariffs and stuff before he even announced any tariffs, and we were right with Elon Musk leaving the administration. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole host of things we mentioned in that video. We can see the chart. We made that video literally on the tippity top of where the market got to. And there was a whole host of reasons why we suggested, that it wasn't going to continue and that the best, going to trade kind of sideways was kind of what we expected. Kind of how Ethereum has been, prior to Bitcoin finally making its move. Ethereum lagged behind and finally made a move as well. Well, that's primarily because of, institutional money and others coming in, which isn't really an original selling point of Bitcoin was that it's privacy and that there weren't institutions and it was decentralized, but it seems more and more centralized. And I think that was one of our points, plus the sentiment point which you made, and also the technicals as well. I mean, we were looking at the 200 bounced off it one, two, three times, and we were saying that once it starts to get lower than this 200, risks on really. But we were calling it well before that. We were called it literally at the tippity top, and I think we should take some credit for that. But yeah, you made some really good
Yeah.
points about sentiment as well.
But the sentiment was crazy. The sentiment, like literally every second post on any social
Mm,
media network was telling us all how Bitcoin was heading towards $1 million and so on, and it
mm.
couldn't go down. And of course, the hardcore Bitcoiners want to hodl for life. But the point is, Bitcoin since its inception has had huge drawdowns,
Mm.
losing 50, 60, 70, even 90%. And there's nothing to say that can't happen again. No.
Yeah.
The big question we have is, was that the top or was it a temporary,
Mm.
is this a temporary pullback and we're going to go back and hit a new high? No, I'm not sure that I'd completely bet against that.
Mm.
Let's see what happens the next few weeks, but we certainly made a decent call, given that we said it was going to fall at around 120. We're now down
Yeah,
to
literally in the middle of this day here at 120, and we could have made the video the day before, but obviously, technicals and
yeah.
technical issues and things like that means that we sometimes have to wait a day or two. But yeah, yeah, that was that, and then yeah, and we kind of have had that sort of swing high above cooling, near top, which was kind of here, and people sort of know that as kind of like liquidity grab events as well. So. I think that's yeah, quite a good because the way how aggressive it sort of moved up here and then just made a tiniest high there. That suggests grabbing a lot of stop losses and limit orders and then reversing. So that's kind of how these markets move is moving towards where the liquidity is. And yeah, I think yeah, we made a number of great calls. I mean, sentiment was too positive, exactly as you said there. The next point was the Bitcoin kind of adoption ceiling. Like if every dollar went into Bitcoin that would kind of put a cap on it, and I think it was it would kind of only been it would only be a kind of a 10x, even if every single dollar went into Bitcoin, and that sort of suggests like there are better investments to maybe get a 10x in rather than something like Bitcoin that's more likely than not going to trade sideways, which was what we were saying, and that was kind of the next point, the sideways point.
Yes,
Mm,
Bitcoin behaves like a tech stock, but it's a
mm,
tech stock with no earnings and no assets.
yeah.
So, but it behaves exactly like one. But the question is it worth having in your portfolio? And we've made the point in the past that it's a very good way of transferring money. It's a very good way of keeping some money outside the banking system.
Mm,
But you have to
mm.
be careful because there are no guarantees that it's going to continue up and that it has some very serious drawdowns. And there's nothing to say that it couldn't have a major drawdown, but about 67% again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just before we continue, I mean, it's laughable. Some of our best videos are actually the ones that are disliked the most. So we had more comments than likes on the video, and more an equal likes to dislike ratio. But then also the comments, you can see. Look, I look forward to coming back in this video and say how wrong you were. This person was a little bit critical, but must be painful being short on BTC. Yeah, yeah, this is different this time in quotation marks, all mocking us, but Yeah, it's quite yeah,
But,
it is funny.
but that's always going to be the sentiment at the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when you put a company on the front page of a major magazine. For example, I think Enron was in the front page of one of the major magazines, right at the top of Enron before it went bankrupt. And
Mm.
so any time that the sentiment is so positive for something, everybody's already in, everybody's already got their position. There's nobody left to buy. Anyone that the other people don't want to buy, or they're already in. So there's only one way you can go if the sentiment is basically 100% positive, and that's where we were with
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Of course, that has changed in the last few weeks. There's not so much positive sentiment
Mm.
today, and that's why maybe it's going to have
Rebound, yeah.
a rally from here, and whether it can get back to new highs or not, who knows? But I stand by the position at some stage that this is going to have a major drawdown, and people are
Yeah.
going to be shocked by it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we could see this being kind of like a range here, like down to this sort of in line with some of these wicks here, kind of sideways movement for a long time around here. But also, I mean, exactly that. We don't know for sure. No one does, but I mean, we're quite good at predicting these things.
Yeah.
But from a technical point of view, we've seen similar here, and once we get below that 200, it starts to act as resistance. Back up to it, fall off of it, and then really big
Yeah.
fall. So you're the best two ports of calls if you're looking to buy Bitcoin is, waiting one for at least, don't catch a falling knife, waiting for one for at least with this blue line here, as Bitcoin falls in some of these instances here, as it falls, don't buy until we start to trade back above the 9 period moving average, which is that blue line here. You can see it curls over each time, gets up to it, curls over, starts to get above it, and then maybe you would add positions here. And then, but equally, it's below that 200 moving average. It's better to do that when it's kind of above or crossing back over. Like, for example, in this instance, stayed below the 200. If you'd waited until it got back above the 200, you could have then bought in this area here, or even wait till it gone up and then curled back down and came and tapped it there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
perfect example of a trade. And that would have been, and I saw that at the time, and I was very, but obviously we're more pro maybe blockchain and privacy and gold rather than Bitcoin. But at the same
Well,
time,
what bothers me about Bitcoin nowadays, was a big fan of Bitcoin when it was being promoted for use as an alternative money, but
mm,
now it's been promoted as this alternative to gold, a store of wealth, and it's not something
mm,
you can go and use as day-to-day money anywhere. You
yeah,
can't really pay your bills in Bitcoin.
yeah,
So that is a problem that and everybody's buying it either through exchanges or they're buying it through exchange traded funds or whatever. So they're only buying it for the gains. They're not actually buying it for any use case. And
mm,
I think that's a major problem going forward.
yeah, exactly. And then another big point of the video, which I'll skip if we get to it, was definitely that institutional money coming in, kind of like the Trump administration, propping up the market. Obviously, they're very pro crypto, and we kind of respect it in a way because they were debanked and all the things that we've experienced, and then they
Mm.
thought crypto was the answer. Well, that's actually it's kind of offshore entities, gold, silver, physical ownership of these things.
But it's
Yeah.
quite incredible. You've got all these new funds coming in. You've got the government promoting it. You've got Trump's sons saying, you got to buy Bitcoin. It's going to the moon, and still it's fallen by 20% so far.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite incredible with all that momentum behind it, all that promotion. It's still that's telling you there are some of these whales are selling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 100%. I mean, they're using that sentiment to move out, to move out themselves as well.
All the whales that are saying hodl in public are
Mm.
selling in private. That's obvious.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can see, how the Bloomberg guy, and I might be able to play the clip. Not the Bloomberg guy, was it Blackstone guy? He would say,
Yes.
Bitcoin's useless, and all of a sudden he's saying it's, it's the best thing ever.
Is it true that you're building out a cryptocurrency capability?
No.
Don't your clients want crypto exposure?
No. I don't believe any client has sought out crypto exposure.
Really?
Yes.
Is it time yet for BlackRock to either trade in digital assets or digital virtual currencies, if you prefer, or to create a product for your clients?
We're not hearing any demand from any of our clients.
It's not an institutional thing yet.
It's far from that. As I said, it's much more of a speculative platform for Asia, and it's heavily used for money laundering. Just yesterday, we launched the iShares Bitcoin ETF. I'm very bullish on the long-term viability of Bitcoin.
I was going to say, did that surprise you?
That surprised me how much that. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. My opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. If everybody adopted that conversation, it would be 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 for Bitcoin.
So yeah, that's definitely a point. I mean, I'll quickly fire through some of these now. I mean, alternatives. We were saying, Monero, more privacy, gold, silver. If you want to be crypto, Monero, the privacy element, it's kind of what Bitcoin was originally set up for. Gold, silver, physical ownership, commodities, just things with better upside. And then another really big one here. I mean, look, this is a brilliant chart here. I mean, the Bitcoin dominance chart, because of these alternatives, like what is actually Bitcoin offering? The alternatives, there are more alternatives. And we were saying, look, up to the 200 and bouncing off of it and now falling. And we can see that chart today, which is here, up, fell off that there, and then back up to it, fell down, even came up to it here, a bit of a spike, fallen off of it again. We're now coming up to it again, looking like we might fall down from it. I mean,
It's such a great chart.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, look, even on the buy side as well, but obviously now look there, here. But now we're underneath it. Totally different game plan. It's massively risk on. Yeah, definitely pleased we made that video when we did. I mean, obviously if things turn around for the better now, I'd like to think that people will remember the first video and not, give us stick for this video. But we are still saying it's gonna trade sideways at the best kind of thing.
Look, if you're a trader, Bitcoin is great for trading. It's
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else. It's great for moving money offshore. It's great for moving money around.
Mm.
It's much easier to do it with Bitcoin than with gold or with bank transfers. So it does have its uses, but I don't think that it's a sort of wealth in the same way that gold is because it doesn't have the history.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's,
You know,
it's
it's,
not
and it's
it's not
and it's
physical
lost
money.
its original use case, which is another point here, which is what we were saying about, the privacy element and basically mainly the privacy element and the value is kind of, in the blockchain as well, rather than and wallets, not BTC now. Um, and you never want to get into things after they've had massive moves anyway. I mean, that's the biggest way to lose money. You kind of want to be in the things at the ground floor, be like a founder investment, and then get in. I mean, that's why,
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at crypto, you want to be looking at the privacy coins like Monero, which to my mind is more
yeah,
like Bitcoin set out to be in the early days.
exactly.
It's a privacy coin, and that's why it's been banned by a lot of countries because your movements can't be tracked if you're using Monero.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, here's the chart from Monero here. I mean, actually, that's a really good example. I mean, we drew in some support lines here as well back then.
Well, if you look at when we first mentioned Monero, I'm not sure when that was, but
It
it's
was it was actually around here. It was literally around here because I remember I was having a big scary day on one day, wicked in line with those previous lows, bang on to a T, and
it's basically
then
up almost $200 since we mentioned
yeah,
it.
exactly, and then bang bang off those lows there, bang 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 again off the same spot, and then it's now above the 200 as we've said before, one, two, and these are on the 200 and the line as well. That's a double technical win because you're looking at the
I,
200 and then also
I
win.
think what to watch out for if that takes out the previous high, then
Yeah.
it's going to fly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then bouncing off that each time here. And then we had the retracement. I think we made and obviously bear in mind the whole market's falling and this is holding up.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant point.
Well,
I mean,
it tells you something. It tells you that people want privacy. There's a market
mm,
for privacy. There's a market for keeping your transactions secret. That's what you want.
exactly.
Monero is the new number Swiss bank account, if you
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
which obviously is not available anymore. Not hasn't been available since the 1980s when you could go to Zurich with a suitcase of cash and open an account and just get a number and give that number to someone else and they could take over the account. I mean that was
Mm.
the good old days. But the nearest thing we've got to that today is Monero.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just also surprised at how good our technical analysis is as well, just looking at this graph. I mean,
It
we
goes
were
without
making the
saying.
videos here, and we were saying the the
Wait,
points of even when it's in reverse, struggling on that 200, and then gets above it, and then starts using it as support, bang, bang, bang here, then here and here, and then as we've been making more and more videos on Monero, it's been you know, bouncing off those technicals after getting away from some of the sort of wicked lows that we've showed in the past. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. We could be mouth drooling at Monero the whole time if we wanted to. Yeah, do the opposite to the crowd. We've kind of already said that. Institutional buying, you know, then what's after that? You know, where is the buying going to come
we
after
touched on
that?
that, yeah.
Touched on that already. OG Bitcoiners selling. I mean, you know, you're 100x Bitcoin OG. I mean, you don't hold anywhere near as much as Bitcoin you used to hold. We saw these wallets selling, you know, transferring money as well. Massive warning signs. Oh yeah, and then you know on top of the privacy element, you know we're seeing more and more compromises, seizures. People can actually see people's wallets and know where their stuff's gone. And obviously, we're not advocating for you know illegal activities, but you know everyone has the right to privacy. And more often than not, the people that they do go for, as we know, are kind of innocent people anyway. The people that are the criminals are just going to be too good at hiding their stuff, regardless. New ETF flows and institutions again we mentioned. You know, yeah, the fate is now tied to Wall Street because of those institutions and a terrible economy. And we see what's happening with gold, and people know that's the case.
And there's so much leverage in Bitcoin nowadays as well. So that is
Mm,
another accident waiting to happen when this is all has to be unraveled at some
mm.
stage. That could really put a lot of serious downward pressure on the price if all these margin loans have to be are called at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. And then we have already done the technical analysis, but I think we did that here. I mean, look, boom, literally right near the top there.
Yeah.
And then I think we did the Bitcoin dominance chart as well. We talked about MicroStrategy, and that's another one we've been spot on with as well. Because if you look at the MicroStrategy chart, I mean, I don't think we get really anything wrong. I don't want to say we've got 100% track record, but yeah, MicroStrategy. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that. I mean, we said as soon as it got below the 200, it's got great technicals. It uses that 200. It then got below, and then exactly as we said, you know, great trade opportunities on that 200, bang full. And then here, I was telling you, I was like, look at it now. It's crossing back over, massive fall. I mean, imagine if you did options on that at that point there. You know,
Yeah.
that's
And
30% down.
it was a perfect place to do options just as it's hitting the 200 again.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Look,
that
there you
was
go.
an obvious trade.
Yeah, yeah. And then we called it perfectly there, and then we touched on the Bitcoin dominance chart, which we showed here.
Again, MicroStrategy is a great stock to trade
Mm,
where you want to trade it, but there's a lot of action there, and
yeah, yeah.
it's, I think we've certainly spoken privately about the opportunities in MicroStrategy. It could be
Mm.
at some stage could be the short of a lifetime.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because even when it's going to be in the dirt, it's going to be more room to beat it down even more. So
Mm.
uh so yeah. And yeah, and then we've mentioned this point already, kind of first movers and visionaries aren't buying now. They were in but way before as you were. But I think maybe that leads nicely into, you know, maybe some action points for people could be buying. Maybe let's start with some more winners that we've had, which has been gold and silver. I mean, we'll try and be quick on this in case
Yeah,
we
I think we first started speaking about gold and silver a year
Mm,
ago, when it was, certainly in the 2,400, 2,500 level. We were talking about gold down and silver was still in the 20s. But gold is not something to trade. Gold is something gold is
real money, yeah,
it's
the
still
actual money for
well,
$5,000.
if you don't have gold, you don't have real money, as we've said
Mm,
again and again.
mm.
So, however painful it is to buy it at these high levels, you sometimes just have to close your eyes and do it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you want to have if you're concerned about the banking system and things like that, then
Mm.
you need to have an alternative, and the only alternatives that are viable are gold and silver kept in a location that only not in a bank or anywhere that someone else can grab it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, we had that. We were making videos kind of right before the move, actually, because we had the channel around, when was it? Sort of middle of 2023, maybe, or maybe as we started to move. But yeah, we were making videos around here
Certainly
and
by the end of September
20.
2024 for sure we were
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah. I mean, from this area here, it's had a huge run.
Yeah.
And yeah, and from a technical standpoint, I'm just going to change that. Obviously, we love the 9 period moving average, as we said before, because you can see how it hugs aggressive moves very nicely. I mean, here to there, bouncing off of it each time. If I just switch to that 50 period movement for this sake, I mean, that's kind of where we are now. We got down to it here, we've bounced off of it here a few times. But those are your buy levels if you would, thinking about, oh, I have no idea what to do, buying here, buying there, but also, just alternatives as well, divesting, not divesting, but diversified in, like silver, which has a better upside opportunity. I mean, we've been calling it to get to $80. We've been buying in this area here once again on that 200, and
Well,
yeah.
if you look at the historic gold silver ratio, which we've spoken about before, and I'm not suggesting it's going to go back to anywhere near that, but if it went back, if it did go anywhere near the historic gold silver ratio, silver should be about $200 an ounce.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be crazy. I mean, I think it, like we've said before, and I've seen other people mention, it's going to get to this sort of $100 area, maybe go slightly further than on it will have too much of a move, and then it will start to sort of maybe have these areas might not even be like 50 might be the lowest ever gets back to. When it finally gets up here, it might be the lowest it ever gets back to. So you got to think in terms of that as well, and that's why maybe still buying now.
Again, as we've mentioned before, silver is still the only thing that you can buy at the same price that it was in 1980.
Yeah.
What else can you buy for the same price as it was in 1980?
Exactly. Yeah. I've said I can't get the chart, but yeah.
You can still do that right now.
100%. I mean, that's a really good point. And how many highs has gold made? Loads. I mean, maybe some other ones like platinum.
We spoke about that too.
Yeah, we've been speaking about that. I mean, that was one I told you I wanted to put all my net worth into because at the time it had kind of been trading sideways and easy to predict moves. I mean, obviously there are only kind of 20% moves in there, but that's kind of one of the reasons why, it's kind of very low risk investment there. And then with all this moving, now we're starting to really burst out there as well.
But what it's showing is that people want to be in real assets. These are real stores of wealth.
Yeah.
And people want to be in them. People are waking up to the fact that these fiat currencies are not going to be around forever. Every fiat currency that ever existed has gone to zero eventually, and the current crop will be no different.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and once again, technical's working a charm here. I mean, with 50 here, came back to it there, came back to it here. I mean, if it pulls lower, 200 there. My guess is actually this 200 will probably rise to around here in line with those wicks. If it falls, that's going to be a good buy zone as well at 1300. So yeah, there's obviously I was disappointed when I saw this move. So actually I got into a different one which I thought was quite amusing, which was palladium. No, platinum had a lag behind gold, and then silver had a lag behind the both of them, and then palladium had a lag behind all of them. So I was thinking, oh damn, I missed that platinum move. And then I got in, on this when it and this is a good chart as well. I mean, these are the charts we love. Ground floor, when it falls down, once again the 200s tap, then it gets above it. Now it uses support, and then here was kind of your entry when it gets above, and then also the retracement back to it, and now it's kind of getting on a bit of a move. I mean, I don't know the fundamentals of this as much as I do the others, but just from a pure being diversified point of view, it was just another good opportunity, bearing in mind especially how high it's been before. And like we say, things love to make new time, all-time highs eventually, especially in the commodity space. And we can maybe touch on oil and other things and natural gas shortly. But I mean, spot on there as well, and had a really nice move. And once again, around that 50 moving average here. So yeah, that's I mean.
I think the commodities are a good place to be because as we were saying, the fiat money is not going to increase in value ever. So you're measuring these in fiat currencies, and they're only going to go in one direction over the long term.
Yeah. Whereas there's much more risk in terms of Bitcoin, which we're kind of quoting in the title and at the beginning of the video. And obviously, people have seen the 90% drawdowns, but then back up to all-time highs in that. But there is a time, that's the whole point of the video. There's a time where that is going to end because there's going to be limited ceiling upside, and as you said, institutions are in. Where's this new money going to come from? It feels like that adoption has already, the adoption that people talked about in 2016 or whatever. It's kind of already. It's already got to that point that they imagined. So, what's the imagining?
You're not seeing adoption for transactions, and that's what concerns me. Maybe it will come, but it doesn't seem to be the way that it's going. There's still very few businesses that accept payment in Bitcoin, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and join our Discord chat room linked in the description so you can see these plays and get in these opportunities when we do.
In the modern world, great leaders resolve their conflicts with words.